Yes, we are live. All right. There are professionals who are doing everything right. They are delivering results. They are showing up consistently. They are being dependable. Yet, when it comes to recognition, nothing really moves. So the question is, why does performance alone not translate into advancement? Good evening, everyone. My name is Victor Umola Idime, and I welcome you to the Swift Institute sessions. I'm not alone tonight. I'm with the phenomenal Mr. Chooks Gracious Maduka. Good evening, Gracious. You look great.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Victor. Good to see you, and welcome everybody on this platform tonight, and or afternoon or morning from wherever you're connected from. As Victor rightly said, most professionals believe that competence, loyalty, and efforts are enough. But in reality, advancement is governed by forces that are rarely explained. And until those forces are understood and people very well people will keep working and walking without moving ahead in their career path.
You know, just as you come in, this session, the way it's being structured in the Swift, is for professionals who feel under recognized or under leveled despite strong contributions, and those who want to understand what actually drives visibility, influence, and career movement. I believe that's the reason why Swift Institute have designed this program, you know.
Absolutely true, Mr. Doj. Thank you for that insightful input. And to help us unpack this conversation this moment, we are joined by someone whose work sits at the intersection of leadership, personal development, and success formation. His perspective brings not just theory but lived insight into how individuals move from potential to impact and from effort to recognition. Please, everyone on this platform, this moment, join us as we welcome Reverend Barrister Tochukwu Kemakolam. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Okay.
I'm glad to be here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we
Thank
can
you.
hear
I'm
you,
glad to
sir.
be here.
Okay. Mr. Chooks, you know, you talked about Reverend Barrister Tochukwu helping us unpack this. You know, one thing I want to put clearly is that the Swift Institute, first, is a formation institute, and our focus is helping professionals understand the invisible. I believe when he start talking, he will help us, you know, explain those invisible factors that, you know, help shape recognition. These are reasons why professionals struggle in a work environment. So we want to really know those invisible factors that help shape recognition, influence, position, and advancement in work environment. Because many capable people are not lacking in talent, not in effort, not in work. But the problem is the lacking of clarity. And I will also add momentum for, you know, becoming visible in a work environment. I believe that's one of the things we're going to achieve this evening here in this discussion.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Mr. DOJ. Sir, as we get started, one of the biggest frustrations that many professionals silently experience at the workplace is this: they are delivering results. They are not lazy. They are staying consistent. They are carrying responsibility. And they are doing what they believe should naturally lead to growth and promotion at work. But yet, when it comes to recognition, when it comes to advancement, when it comes to promotion, it still seems out of reach. So, sir, the question is this: from your experience, why do you think professionals who are clearly competent and consistent still struggle to gain recognition or promotion at work? Yes, sir.
Okay, very good question. And this is a very, very important topic because many people get stuck in their career advancement. But one thing is very clear, and I want to say it from the onset, that career advancement is not driven by performance alone.
Wow.
It's not driven by performance alone. There are unspoken rules, just like you have aptly captured it in the topic. There are invisible dynamics that shape who moves forward and who stays stuck. So, for example, from experience, I have, having been in the investment banking space, but by the grace of God, I got to the position of executive director before I veered into politics and then ministry. There are some things that helped me, and I've also observed, and also through career growth and personal development, I've also discovered that in reality, work rarely speaks unless someone translates it.
Wow.
Work rarely speaks unless someone translates it. And let's unpack it. Number one, I want you to note that you may be very competent doing the work, but if you are not visible, you may not be recognized. So visibility in this context is not vanity. It is strategy. You must have visibility as a strategy for you to be recognized. And when we're talking about strategy here, some people might just say, oh, I don't want to praise myself. People I want to stay humble and all that. I'll just keep my head down and deliver. Let me tell you, in the workspace, if you don't blow your trumpet may become rusty. So visibility is not about bragging. It's about ensuring your work is understood and valued.
Wow.
Because you may be working and someone else might take the credit. Perhaps you're in a team, and if you don't make yourself visible for your supervisors or your leaders to know that you have done this work, you find out that someone else might take the credit. And there are some people, they might just come, okay, you come for leadership meeting, and maybe on a Monday morning, like we used to do then, Monday morning, we have management meeting. You're expected to give report of your activities for the past week and what you intend to do for the following week. Some people might just come and they just reel out their report. Oh, I did this, I did that, I did that. That's not enough. You need to, instead of just saying, I finished the report, why not twig it to say that this report helped us identify a 15% cost saving opportunity for the company.
Wow.
Or this report, we identified that we can scale in this area if we do X, Y, Z. It's a different ballgame. Your leader will see this person as someone who is adding value, and you are making yourself visible. Than just saying, "Oh, I just finished the report." Not that settles it. So you must show that you are adding value. By going the extra mile. And the Bible says we should, if someone asks you to go a mile, that you should add some extra. So it's that extra that makes you extraordinary, that makes you visible, that you are not just another employee, but you are a value-adding employee. So when the time for appraisal comes, of course, having done your job well, you'll be recognized for promotion. Another rule that I've also come to discover that people miss is that many people in the workspace just work in silos. They are all alone. There's no relationship. You are not relating with your boss. You are not relating with your contemporaries. You are just all alone. For you, let me just do my job and just go home. It's not enough, my brothers. It's not enough. Promotions are not just decided by performance reviews. I want you to know that promotions are not just decided by performance reviews. They are influenced by conversations. They are influenced by conversations. And many of which you are not in. You are not in that room. When decisions about promotions will be taken, you may not be there. But the relationships that you have built over time will speak for you. I've been privileged to be in promotion interviews. I've been privileged to be in even board meetings, because I was privileged to be the company secretary of my company. Then I was also on the board as director in some of the subsidiaries. So there are people that they will come, okay, because of relationships they have built over the time. You can even put in a word for them because of relationship. In a situation whereby you have two competent people, but one person has to be promoted. In that instance, what do? You have to, anybody will go for someone that your heart is, towards. So you can't avoid relationship. And this relationship we are talking about, it has to be built both vertically and horizontally. When I talk about vertical relationship, I'm talking about your bosses, those ahead of you, then when those also below you, vertical, up and down. Because sometimes even those below you will even give appraisals. They will appraise you. Don't ignore those below. A driver can tell your boss something good about you. And then horizontally, your peers, those your contemporaries, build a good working relationship with them. Then also there's what we call cross-functional teams. If you're in a team, you're not just working in silos. Okay, maybe you are in HR. You say, okay, you have nothing to do with those in IT, or you have nothing to do with those in internal control. Build relationship across teams. It is very helpful. It is very helpful and helpful. And when we're talking about this relationship, it's not about manipulation. I hate the word manipulation, because that is one thing that, if you ask my wife, it drags some blood into my spine, because manipulation is wrong. When we're talking about relationship, we're talking about sincere relationship, building connections, building alignments, and building trust. Because at the end of the day, people advocate for people they know. So relationship is key. I don't know, maybe before, let it not be a monologue. I have other points that I want to share, but I have shared 2 points right now before I go into others. Maybe you have something to add to it
Thank you so
or
much,
question.
Barrister. Thank you so much. I know all over our platform is buzzing now. Everywhere is buzzing because of the insight they're getting from this live session.
Awesome.
We're just grateful that you're part of this live session today. But I want to move from the issue of recognition itself to a deeper question of why effort alone often fail to translate into advancement or promotion. Because we've seen that many professionals struggle to understand the contradiction in the workplace. The people carrying out the heaviest workload, we call them in quote the hard workers, they are not always the people moving forward fastest. So there's a contradiction there, and we want you to unravel this contradiction based on your experience and your expertise. So the question is, why is hard work alone often not enough for promotion? And why do some less hardworking people tend to move faster than the over hardworking people? So thank you. Over to you, sir, please.
Okay, still in line with what you're talking about. You know, the first 2 points I mentioned are part of it. Then we also discovered that perception of leadership matters. Perception of leadership matters. You may already be doing leadership level work, doing great work, but are you being seen as a leader? Is the work you are doing being seen? You know, it is all about applying wisdom in whatever you're doing. It's not enough to just be there and say, okay, I'm working hard, but you are not mindful of your environment. You are not mindful of your environment, because when you're in a place, it's good to understand your environment. You need to understand your culture. What is the culture of the place? Because culture is very important. If you are not, if you're a cultural misfit in an institution, you won't go far, no matter how diligent you are. So the perception of leadership matters. And leadership perception is shaped by how you communicate. How you communicate. Very, very important. How do you communicate with leadership? How do you communicate? How do you communicate the assignments that have been given to you? How you carry out responsibilities, and how you think. How you think. You know, there are some people, they are good executioners, but they are not good thinkers. And that's why for you to get to executive management level, you must be a thinker. Because at that level, you may not be doing the operational job. It's a level of strategy. You are thinking about how to scale. You are thinking about your market share. You are thinking about how to get your staff to produce optimally. It's not for you to start passing papers at that point. No. You know, so how you think is very important. And to be fair, you'll find out that when you juxtapose those people that are on the upward trajectory and those who are stuck, you'll find out that those on the upward trajectory are thinkers. They are out there. But the ones that are stuck, you find out that they are just waiting to be given instructions. They don't take initiatives. You ask them to prepare the budget, they will do it very well. But they might not be thinking, adding value. Okay, in as much as you say we should budget 30% to marketing, but in this time and age, don't you think we should increase it by 35% and give more percentage even to social media because of the number of people in social media these days? You know, so you can let management know or leadership know that you are much more than where you are. So, but if you're just good at execution, they'll just give you, okay, execute, we'll pay you, and then that's it. But if you are mindful of scaling, if you are mindful of getting up there, you must think like a leader. So do you just execute tasks, or do you provide direction? Do you bring problems, or do you bring solutions? So, but for that to be a powerful shift, first stop reporting activities as a aspiring leader. Start communicating impact. Start communicating insight. And start communicating the next steps. That is how to build confidence in the heart of your employer or your leaders that this one is due for the next level. And that's how leaders speak. Am I communicating?
You are, sir. You are.
And then
Profound.
Absolutely.
Profound.
and then another rule for you to move from where you are to the next level instead of getting stuck, because there are people who are on the upward trajectory. One thing I've discovered is that they play the role before they get the title. They play the role before they get the title. You know, when you are in a place, don't wait to get the title. Begin to play that role you want to step into. That is one of the ways to go up in your career advancement. Because one of the biggest misconceptions is, I will step up when I'm promoted. No. Organizations don't promote potential alone.
Okay.
They promote evidence of readiness.
Wow.
They promote evidence of readiness. So you have to start showing the next level before you are given the title. Let me share a life example, my experience. I was employed as a legal officer after youth service. I could have said, okay, I'm just called to provide legal advice, do all the legal work, papers, vet all the contracts, and all that. But I was working in an investment banking outfit. What did I do? I took interest in what they were doing in stockbroking. I took interest in what they were doing in asset management. And was also having conversations with even the head of the investment banking group, helping them out in doing one thing or the other. One day, it was the head of the general manager in charge of investment banking group who went to the managing director and told the group managing director that he wants Tochukwu in his group. That even though he's a legal officer, I want him to handle some accounts. That was how I started doing the work of legal officer and as well doing the work of an asset manager. And then that interest developed. And I said, okay, this is a good pathway. I started looking for books, started reading on my own to build capacity so that I don't fail this man who has so much confidence in me. I even started, studying to write a stockbroking exam to charter as a stockbroker. As a lawyer, I didn't say, oh, I don't know anything about maths and all that, but I went and started studying elementary accounting. The kind of accounting commercial students will learn there so that I can build the basics to learn. And From there, I went to do my master's in business administration, focus specializing in finance. And those rudimentary accounting that I did helped me in business school. That nobody would know that my background was law. They thought that my background was accounting or economics or marketing, because I decided to play the role before I get the title. And someone saw it and identified it, that this guy, takes initiative, that this guy is someone that we can, rely on, someone who can deliver, and also when you don't shy away from leading projects. When you are given a project, just lead it, do it. If you don't know how to do it, ask questions, but don't shy away from taking responsibilities. Mentor others. You mentor others, thinking beyond your job description. I would have said, okay, I'm just a lawyer. I can't do anything that has to do with figures. I just stay there. Maybe at the end of the day, maybe I would have ended there as maybe company secretary. But I was doing the work of company secretary. I was executive director in charge of investment banking. At some point, I was overseeing corporate services. Even when I wanted to go leave for politics, my employers didn't want to let me go. That after my first departure to politics, when I came back, I was absorbed. They said, come back. And so, it's not rocket science. It's something that is doable. It's just, the soft issues, not the hard things. And if we apply some of these things, it will help us to scale. Also, another important thing I want us to note is that if you're in an organization, you need sponsors.
Okay.
You need sponsors, not just mentors.
Wow.
Sponsors matter more than mentors.
Wow.
As far as career advancement is concerned. Mentors are important. They guide you. And you need mentors. But sponsors, they open doors for you. Sponsors open doors for you. A sponsor is someone who mentions your name in important rooms. A sponsor advocates for your promotion. A sponsor connects you to opportunities. And here is the key. Sponsors don't just appear. Sponsors don't just appear. You earn them through visibility, consistency, and trust. So you have to make your work visible to the right people. Deliver results that make others confident in backing you. This particular point that I raised now, talking about making your work visible to the right people, reminds me of a book I read some years back. This book is titled Sequence to Success. Sequence to Success, written by Sam Chand. Sam Chand is a leadership expert. And he in that book, he talked about the 3 O's of success. Number 1, he said, in success, the first thing is observation. As we are here now, even speaking, people are observing us. Your observation of me, of my performance today, will determine if you give me opportunity to appear next time. Because after observation, the next O is opinion.
Okay.
Your observation of today will form an opinion in your heart. For example, after observing me today, for Victor that is just seeing me for the first time today, will form an opinion, not based on what he has heard previously, but based on what he has seen today. So you form an opinion. That is the second O of success. Then that opinion will determine the opportunities you will give to me. So,
wow,
having observed me today, you form an opinion of me. Then your opinion will determine if probably someone is asking you, do you know someone who can speak on leadership, who can speak on success? Whether you can recommend me to that person or not. There are some people that probably their name might come fly in the room. You just say no, don't go there. The last time he was, he messed up. I didn't like his presentation because you observe the person and you formed an opinion. So I want every one of us watching to realize these three sequence of success. So if, as an employee, you want to get to the zenith of your career, have it at the back of your mind that you are being observed. That's why in Hebrews, permit me, I'm a person of faith. In Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1, the Bible says that we are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. So we are being observed. So how you behave, how you go about your work will determine if the opinion someone will form about you. And that opinion will determine the opportunities that will be given to you in the future. So that is very, very important for us to note. Any
amazing.
or any contribution before I still have more points
Yeah,
to give.
I have a contribution to make. I won't
Sure.
forget that punchline. He said, most professionals know how to execute, but they don't know how to think. So that brings me to this conclusion to say that work then, or hard work, so to say, is not what makes professionals advance in their career. If that is what can be deduced from what you said, it now comes to the realization that a professional should now begin to ask himself, what are those things that will make a professional to be perceived as a leadership material? That's one. Then moving further, you also made it clear that most professionals are capable in execution. They are highly dependable in value in what they do, yet they are still being perceived as not leadership material or due for promotions. So what it means now is, as you're bringing it, I know you still have a lot to give us. I know more. What more? Like, I notice another problem. Let me put this before I now conclude. More professionals unconsciously or unintentionally present themselves as pleasers or impressors, seeking validation rather than communicating or translating their value, like you said. So this is what now makes it difficult for such person to be promoted. Another angle I picked, most times I could also make reference, that was the last time we had Professor David. He also made that important statement, that most times professionals celebrate their mentors and ignore sponsors. It's amazing how you're coming up here. You are also making the same statement. Is amazing, sir. Is amazing. So let me quickly, draw it up there with this question. Why is hard work not enough
But before you
for promotion?
before you ask that question, there's something you said that is very important. You find out that find out people are perceived not to be qualified or not to be pulling their weight. One thing I've also come to discover that many people who get stuck have low self-esteem.
Wow.
Wow. This man of God, Pastor Emmanuel Lumide, I read his book when I was in the university, and that's one line in his book, that has stuck with me till Jesus comes, is that it is only those who believe in themselves that can prove themselves. If you don't believe in yourself, there's some people, they do great work, but they're even seeking for validation from someone else to let them know that they have done a great job. You don't even have faith in what you have done. And in your heart, you believe that, this is where you belong. You don't belong up there. You just categorize those who should be there, who should be there. Like it happened, when we were starting work, at some point we found out that those who studied abroad were now being invited to come and take positions in the company. And when they come, it's as if they get higher positions and higher pay. Some of us who schooled in Nigeria then, some of my colleagues, people were complaining, why should these people be doing that? And they were feeling inferior. But for me, I didn't feel any inferior. What I did was that I tried to even learn from these people that studied overseas, and perhaps there's something they know that I do not know. And for me, it was also a challenge, to develop myself. What did I do? I had to go and I started looking for school abroad to do my master's. Got a place in the UK and took leave of absence, study leave. I went for study leave for 1 year, did my master's. By the time I came back, I was promoted. And while I was even on that study leave, do you know that because I was still in touch with the company, still adding value, still sending customers to them, still marketing for them while I was still on study leave, I wasn't being paid. When they have any function in London and they need someone to represent them, they will call me to go and represent them in London for that meeting. And so even before I came back, I've already stepped into a higher role. That by the time I came back, I was made an assistant general manager. From general manager, before I knew it, after 1 year, general manager. From general manager, became executive director. So mindset is also key. You need to build confidence, know who you are, know the stuff you are made of. That will also help. So I just felt I should add that to corroborate what you have said. And then let's take the question, please.
Okay, yeah, two questions. You will just help us clear it. How do professionals unintentionally position themselves as helpers, pleasers, impressors, not leaders? That's one. Then two, you talked about decision-making rooms and people who are in that room. How can one actually make decision makers in those work environments see him as ready for promotion? These are my two questions, sir.
Okay. Like I said, how first of all, the mind is so powerful. The Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So if you see yourself as not qualified, that is what you present even to the outside world. James Allen, in his timeless book, As a Man Thinketh, said something very profound. He said, they themselves are makers of themselves. So where you are is a product of your mindset. You present yourself as that, and you'll be seen as that. Also, even the way, like I've pointed earlier, you just report your work. Have you done this? You just do it. No initiative. This is what you asked me to do. That's what I have done. And all that. They are not even bringing anything to show that you are even thinking about the job. And then how you communicate, even how you communicate the assignment and the outcome. Most times, people who find themselves in that position are not interested, or they don't think, they're oblivious of the outcome. They're not even they don't even think about the process, not to think of the outcome. They're only concerned about the task. The task. So you must be conscious of the process and also conscious of the outcome of the work you're doing. That will help.
Okay, that's good.
Then how do you identify all the sponsors? How do you just have to you have to be intentional about building relationships. You have to be intentional about building. There's one thing people shy away from, especially people of faith. One thing you need to understand is that there is in every environment, there is an uncomfortable word that people don't want to talk about. And that word is politics. Understand the game without losing yourself.
Okay.
When you get into a place, any environment, there are levels of power. There are people whose voices are heard and that cannot be despised. Someone may not even might not have a big title, but the person has the ears of the decision makers. The person can even be a sponsor. The person may not mentor you, but the person can sponsor you. Like it could be the SA to the MD, it could be the PA to the MD, it could even be the PS driver. Sorry, it could be the MD's driver. So, first, the way you relate with those people, when you identify them, and like I said, it's not manipulation. Don't manipulate people. Build genuine relationships. Earn their trust. Earn their loyalty. Let them know that you care and that you take ownership. You take that business as your own. Then build relationship. Find out what matters to them. Build relationships. Go to them. Find out how they're doing, even in the office. Build a relationship aside from work. Ask them about their family, their children, how they're doing, or their special events. Attend. Send them cards once in a while. Send them prayers, text messages. Build relationship. Then when you do your work, let them know the value you're adding. by the way you communicate it. And now that brings me to what I call strategic communication. Strategic communication is a career multiplier. Strategic communication is a career multiplier.
Wow.
It's not enough to have ideas. You must communicate them effectively. Those ideas become communicate effectively. High performers often underestimate this. They think clarity lives in their heads. No. But influence happens when clarity is shared. You have to share it. Let them know that you are adding value, you know what you're doing. Learn to be concise in your communication, be structured, and then speak in terms of results, risks, and opportunities. Because when you communicate well, people begin to see you differently. Then what we call office politics is you need to understand how decisions are made and influenced. Don't be oblivious of your environment. You know, there are some people, they just get into the office, they don't even know what is happening. Things will be happening, you know, they don't even know, you know, that something is going on. They are just in the world of their own. You just have to understand how decisions are made, understand the power brokers, the levels of power, the influencers. Because ignoring it doesn't make it go away. I want you to know that. It just makes you invisible within it.
Mm.
You can't wish it away. Even if you decide to ignore it, it doesn't make it to go away. So instead, I want to advise that you observe how decisions happen. Understand who influences outcomes. Align your work with what leadership values. Like I keep saying, you don't have to manipulate, you just have to be aware and intentional. You just have to be aware and intentional. So when you do so, you know, if you painstakingly and intentionally do some of these things, you'll find out that you'll be seen. You'll be seen. Because you can't hide. You can't hide. And hard work alone can keep you strong. That is the hard truth. Sometimes high performers get stuck because they become too valuable where they are. You know, if you are also a hard worker and you don't have you don't transfer that knowledge, there are some people only them can do that job. That's it's a key man risk. We call it key man risk because if you are not available, or if that person falls down dead, that means nobody can do that job. And if you are in such a situation, if there's an opening somewhere, you might not be taken that place because there's no one to do that job. So you need to build systems. You need to raise others, train others, create systems that will be there, that even if you are not at work, or even if you decide to leave the institution, you know, the institution will run without you. Or if there's an opening up there, you can be taken there. But if you don't have systems and you have not trained other people who can do that job, you are not effectively delegating, you find out that you may remain in that spot for a long time until you train someone who can do that job. So teach others, delegate, and elevate your role. That will also help, you know, to move you upward career trajectory. I think I've answered the question substantially.
Yes, Barrister. We are so humbled and elated for this session we've had with you today. And the 3 points you made about success, we're talking about observation, opinion, and opportunities. I know Victor is smiling because already he has something on his head going on. So, so what we've discussed tonight is not just about more work, doing more work. Now, it is about operating at a different level of awareness. And advancement is not random, it is structured, it is intentional, and it is interpreted. It's not something that happens casually.
And translated.
Yes, sir. And until this is understood very well by the high professional, effort alone will not move the person forward in the person's career. So we want to encourage everyone that is on this platform tonight to share this video to your colleague, to your family, friends, and anybody that you know that needs advancement. Will oblige you to share this video. And for our special guest, you will be hearing more from him on this platform, certainly, because we've observed him, we've made our opinion already, and Barrister, we're going to have you back. Like Barrister, we're going to have you back to back. We're going to have you back to back, Barrister. And I want to thank Mr. Dioja. I want to thank you, Mr. Victor. And I want to thank our special guest all the way from Maryland, United States, Barrister Reverend Tochukwu Kamakalam. It's an honor having you, sir. And we know we're going to have you more and more on this section and the Swift Institute. And from us to everyone on this platform, at this moment, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week on Thursday, same time, same platform. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you for what you guys are doing. In fact, this is it. We need to build capacity, and I'm happy with what you guys are doing, and I'm honored to be part of it. Thank you
so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Bye-bye, sir. We'll see you next time.
All right, take care.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Such a great honor to have you here. It was a really, really impactful session. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. You have a wonderful day.
All right.